Hi, my name is ColdBeer, and as every YouTuber around here, I feel the need to share my own opinion about Blizzard's new game. I played through the beta and made some conclusions that may be interesting for fans of the genre. And I didn't watch any videos of other YouTubers, didn't read any articles, it's just what I think without any influence from the outer world.
The good.
The most important thing, in my opinion, is that the game actually feels like Diablo. You know, if someone told me to play some dungeon without telling me the actual name of the game, and I had to guess whose sequel this is, I wouldn't say, for example, that this is a Path of Exile or Grim Dawn. Or, you know, honestly, I may have said that. At first glance, it's just a generic Diablo clone. But later, when you see some well-known monsters, when you start using skills, everything falls into place. For example, I played as a sorcerer and my main weapon of choice was Frozen Orb. Yeah, the same old good Frozen Orb from Diablo 2, and it felt really good. And I was really impressed that Diablo 4 is really dark and violent game. I was recording some cutscenes my family was watching, and we were all like,
"Oh no, demonetized. Oof, demonetized again and again."
Scenes of killing, skin peeling, dead bodies, and pineapples in the potato salad. Well, maybe not the latter. It's not a horror game after all, you know. So yeah, nobody will accuse Blizzard for creating a family-friendly game this time, although I'm sure that there will not be any nudity. You know, Blizzard would probably implode and create a black hole if they left some uncovered booby floating around. Sadly, the company is really woke in this field. But anyway, the game is not for kids, it's a serious title for adults, 100%. Also, I really like the character creation screen. I was determined to create a sorcerer that looks like he eats children for breakfast, because, you know, if I was an evil sorcerer, I would do that. So in my surprise, I managed to fulfill my plan. Look at it! What a nice looking person! I wish I could look like this in real life. I will think about that. I already have a beard. And another great thing was the dungeons. So basically the world of Diablo 4 is similar to Diablo 2. They call it open world, but it's actually not. If you played Baldur's Gate 3, you know what I mean. Mountains, forests, and piles of rock everywhere, and you can go only by the beaten path. Yeah, you can go across the whole map, but the areas felt really narrow. Maybe it's just in the beta, because we were allowed to explore only a tiny fraction of the map. But honestly, I don't need a real open world in Diablo, I'm good with what they are selling now. Anyway, as I've said before, there are many dungeons to choose from everywhere you go. And to complete one instance, it will take from 8 to 15 minutes of your time. That is really great. They keep you entertained and never overextend, so the fun never gets boring. Also, at the end of every dungeon, a boss awaits you. Sadly, I encountered the same boss a few times, so I don't know if this is an issue of a beta or they will leave it like this. And these bosses tend to drop legendary items. As far as I've seen, they are really unique with handcrafted stats. That is great. Also, I have noticed that the gear you wear is really detailed, and that was super impressive for me. Every item is different, and when you look at your character from up close, you can see tiniest details, like threads, feathers, and many other things. They really follow the saying that Diablo is in the details.
The bad.
Well, actually, let's talk about the things that were mediocre. For example, it was fun to kill world bosses with others, but I kinda wanted to try take them on my own. Well, it would probably take me forever because of the ungodly amount of hit points these bosses have. I really didn't notice any difference except the whale-size hit point meter, no matter how many of us were participating in these heroic fights. It's not World of Warcraft, where you cannot slay the boss if you don't have a tank or healer in your group. Nobody heals you here except yourself, so they can't increase the damage bosses do because the party will be wiped out, so they just make more enemies and more hit points. But that was not a problem to my area of effect skills. It doesn't really matter if I am attacked by 5 skeletons or by 50, they die just as quickly. And I'm not talking about the endgame, where you have all the best gear and then you go and farm Lilith with some other no-lifers, and if you lack gear, you just die at certain levels. So far we don't have the ability to try this, so my opinion on that is non-existing. Another thing I'm not happy about is that drop of items is boring. For example, in Diablo 2, along with the gear items, we had runes, various gems of different sizes, big hairy balls, charms, jewels, keys, scrolls, potions, and so on. Well, maybe not all of them. Although some of those things were not very useful. You know, who used the stamina potion, right? But the variety was interesting and every drop had their unique sound. So sometimes you were excited just from the sound alone. Remember the zing when a jewel drops? You can hear it even now, I'm sure of that. And in Diablo 4 all I got were items you can wear. If a drop happens, it's a gear. Armor, weapon, ring, gloves, your mother's bra, you get the point. There isn't anything else left. Well, except the health potions. You can have only 4 of these and they go on different tab, not to your inventory. They even got rid of mana potions, it's not a thing anymore. Also, the drop rate in beta was really high. My inventory was filled with items after a 15-minute run in a dungeon, and going back to town and selling them was a really annoying thing. Later I realized that this is just beta, nothing matters, so I just threw them away instead of selling. That felt really wrong, but I hope they fix it in the final version. Or maybe not, maybe you will need ungodly amounts of ingredients for crafting recipes, maybe it's how it will ever be, I don't know.
The ugly.
Oh, the elephant in the room is that this game must always have an internet connection, and as far as beta goes, that was a big problem from Blizzard's end. Yeah, the game tends to stutter and teleport you a few meters from time to time, but the biggest problem I encountered is that it just doesn't load the areas. Look at this. I just can't go back from where I came from, because Blizzard had no capabilities to load the game for everyone, so I had to go back and try again. And I was lucky this time. That happened to me at least 3 times, but only this one was caught on camera. To be absolutely clear, I will say that my internet connection is really capable of running multiplayer games. I can guarantee that the problem was not on my end. Also, the game has massive frame drops. Usually the frame rate was about 140 even when I recorded the gameplay, so really high, like Snoop Dogg. But in the upper world, I mean not in the dungeons, the frames sometimes from 140 dropped to 80 or 70 and the game started to stutter. I had no idea what was happening because in general you shouldn't feel any stutter at 70 frames per second. That is a good frame rate. So I think what happened was a very quick frame drop to 0 and then it instantly came back up. Even the frame counter fails to notice that, so it immediately shows me the frame rate that is climbing up from 0, and that is 70 frames. So it goes 140, 0, then 70. Not very smooth, huh? And these drops were happening all the time. And here you can see my setup. Not the highest NPC, but it should manage to run Diablo 4 without any problems. So that was ugly, really ugly. But it's better, they will fix it. A lot of people didn't feel any stutter at all. You know, it probably depends on your configuration and many other things. So it would be kinda unfair to judge the final product by these quirks.
The final verdict.
Well, what can I say, except the lag and stuttering, which will be fixed, I'm sure of that. It is a fun game to play. Is it more fun than, let's say, 3rd Diablo, Path of Exile or Grim Dawn? Well, probably not. It's just a new game in this field made with tremendous detail and it really feels like a AAA kind of game. So it is another good game, like Diablo. I know it sounds silly that Diablo is like Diablo, but hey, the main antagonist isn't even a Diablo this time, it's some woman with horns. Not very impressive. Remember Bale? He was ugly and he had this unique personality. Lilith is just some girl with a model face, and it is obvious that she puts on makeup. Well, I hope we will see what she's hiding beneath it. Not beneath her makeup, but beneath her face. We all know it's fake. But honestly, I like when evil is scary, like the crones in Witcher 3, not when I have the feeling that the main antagonist soon will demonstrate the newest set of armor on the runway. So the verdict. So far, it looks like 7 cold beers out of 10. It's a good game with huge potential to upgrade the score in the future. Thank you for watching, have a nice day and I'll see you.
When will you see us? Don't keep us in the darkness.
As always, next time. Bye!